Peace and blessings, everybody. I am your brother, Juan Carlos X, at Slatestone Music anywhere online. Welcome to the Plug Room, where you can plug your business, plug your brand. Here at the Plug Room, we are all about community development, which is building people and linking people with people. If you find value in this stream, this recording, wherever you may be watching it online and in the matrix, let us know in the comments. Please share it out. Also, if you would like to be a part of the Plug Room in any one of our four categories, which is community development, audio forensics, digital forensics, or the AU or the Art Unveiled, or you know someone who deserves to be on the platform or should share their business or brand, text the word network to 559-791-8468. Someone will reach out to them. Again, thank you for tapping in and plugging in with us on today. We have a guest who is an entrepreneur plus, who's going to share her story and her journey, let us know about her genesis and her brand. And without any further delay, let me bring up our guest, Sister Imani Muhammad of travelingpillar.com.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sister. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I am blessed, thankful for being here, and thankful to the Plug Room. You know, there's not enough platforms that do exactly what you do. So just sending you appreciation and gratitude for this.
Indeed. Praise be to Allah for allowing me the space to operate in. And thank you for coming. So in your own words, Sister Imani, who is Imani Muhammad and what is the Traveling Pillar known for?
Absolutely. That's an interesting question, you know, because every day we evolve into the people and the person that we are today. So first and foremost, my name is Sister Imani Muhammad. I am born and raised in Portland, Oregon. I am a mother, a sister, a friend, community activist, community pillar, and a servant to my people and to humanity. I am a student of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, taught to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And without that foundation, I probably wouldn't be sitting across the digital screen from you. And I say that because, again, you know, the teachings really help us, I'm going to be honest, care about our people. You know, without the teachings, I think we can easily get frustrated with our own selves and our own community and our own condition. So I joined the Nation of Islam many, many years ago when I was a sophomore in high school. And I was 16 years old at the time. And from there, you know, I have always continued to want to give back and want to be of service. And so over those years, over those times in my life, the Million Man March was a very significant moment, like in our history. And I remember sitting and watching in 1995, you know, these million Black men coming together. And that, you know, like many of us, moved us. It set precedents of what a standard of Black men can look like. And then 10 years later was the Millions More movement. And I was able to go to DC and be a part of that and work on behalf of the nation. And I came back from DC and I said I wanted to start Traveling Pillar. And Traveling Pillar originally was a bookstore. So I would basically take the Final Call books and just resell them in my city, resell them online. E-commerce was not a big thing back then. And so I worked with a couple brothers out of the nation who helped build out an online bookstore. And then from there, I had traveled to New York. And y'all know how New York is in the East Coast. It's just a different vibe than the West Coast. And so I started buying shea butters and soaps, you know, things like that from the brothers on the street on 125th. And I used the products and I said, you know, to myself, well, why not come back to Portland and sell the same products, you know? So basically Traveling Pillar started as a way for me to push the knowledge, right, of the nation. So How to Eat to Live, Message to the Black Man, you know, Torchlight for America, the Final Call newspaper. And it was very much strictly around the Final Call products. And then when I went to New York, I started grabbing the 100 Amazing Facts by, you know, of the Negro by J.A. Rogers and different books that were around Black scholarship. And so I brought that back to Portland. And at the time, no one was really doing that or even had access to that. And so that's kind of how Traveling Pillar started, was a knowledge piece, right? Trying to awaken our community, our condition. And then from there, kind of evolved into the hygiene products, and having natural products that take care of our body, right? And so now, many years later, we have the online website, and then we do a bunch of vending opportunities here in the city. And I've traveled to Seattle, Portland, and a few other places, just again representing Traveling Pillar. But again, it started with me using the products myself, reading the books myself, and then wanting to give back to our people.
Yes, ma'am. Now, when you say you let us know a little bit about the genesis, you let us know your travels, the teachings being your foundation. My question is, the first part of the question is, what idea sparked in your mind for you to name your brand or the platform you were going to be operating out of as Traveling Pillar? And is there any special meaning behind it?
Absolutely. So there's a story, and forgive me for not knowing all of my Bible verses, but there's a story in the Old Testament around Boaz. And Boaz was it was Boaz and another brother, can't remember the name, but they were considered like pillars in their community. And this is years ago, there was a brother that I met. He was from California, and he and I talked about kind of just the scriptures, and how there's certain people in scripture that are pillars or representatives that hold up the standard of God's kingdom. And so again, it's not the exact story of Boaz, but I heard the story. Then I heard this thing about pillars, right? And if you know, a pillar again is usually that firm foundation that holds up a building. And then the traveling piece, I like to travel, and honestly, for me, Portland is a very unique city. There's not a lot of us out here. And so in order for me personally to stay rejuvenated and stay connected to my spirituality and just be motivated, I have to get out of the Portland. Portland is it's interesting, it's a beautiful city, but it can be very depressing. And so I learned very early in my life to travel, right, and get connected to the original people. And of course, the nation helped that, because anywhere you go, you can visit a mosque or a study group, and you got family everywhere. And so that traveling piece is kind of what stuck with me. And again, I didn't have a brick and mortar, so I was traveling, right, to different events and different places, providing what I consider a pillar, right, to our community, or a pillar or a standard of how we as Black folks and humanity as a whole can and should be living, right? So when I travel, I'm coming with How to Eat to Live, the Final Call newspaper. In addition to that, I'm coming with halal and vegetable-based products that are better for our skin, and better for our bodies, right? So all of our products, whether I make them or they're being resold, by other Black and brown businesses that I contract with, you can trust the quality, right, of the product, and you can trust that you are starting kind of a foundation and a pillar, right, so to speak, in your household. So it was a little play on words, but also at the core of it, really understanding that there's a pillar and a foundation that has to happen in our communities. And why not start with our hygiene, our health, and the mind?
Indeed. And it's interesting that you mentioned, you hit the nail right on the head, as they say, with Portland, because I was blessed and fortunate enough to live out there for approximately 8 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I actually just came back from Texas, from Gresham. And Gresham is right there. I was actually in Portland, and then from Portland went to Gresham for about 2 months, and then back here because one, looking for us out there, like you said, it's not really us out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then two, it can be depressing as far as the area. It's beautiful land,
Mm-hmm.
as far as the weather and whatnot, and all of that, and the air and the trees, the scenery, but those things that we need, especially us being in the teachings and whatnot, I don't really sense that out there. And yes, we could be that out there, which you are, and I was, but it's really it's limited in how you can be effective out there with that at the moment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
And I think, well, what I wish I would have known because we got a little bit of a pocket of a community out here. And actually, I opened up my nonprofit. We opened up our center August of 2022, right off of 162nd and Stark, which is in the hotbed of the border between Gresham and Portland. But it's also the area that, we got displaced to when they pushed this out of Northeast. And some of us chose to come out this way as well. But yeah, it's a, I mean, I can go real deep, and I'm not going to go too deep. But when we look at our lessons around what makes snow, hail, earthquakes, when you look at the science behind that and the gravitational pull that pulls down the rain, right? Pulls down what can be considered the seasonal affective disorder, right? The rain, the depression. It's not so much of that. It's the fact that when you have limited vitamin D and limited light, right? Then you can go into that depressive state. And I think one of the things that Portland is I would say Oregon is known for is that there's a lot of racism. And then you have this other piece around, it's progressive, right? But that's false. And so there's so much that there's a lot of freedom that goes around in Portland, keep Portland weird, all that stuff. And I believe that is a direct correlation to the weather and the state of mind and the condition, right, that happens in the city of Portland, but also the state of Oregon. And so I think there's a spiritual reason why a lot of us as original people come out here and get lost, for lack of better words. I see a lot of people that travel here from St. Louis, Chicago, different places, and they get here and they get real settled and they get real nonchalant and complacent because this is a place that will lull you to sleep.
Indeed. You're right with that. You're definitely right with that. So in the different lanes and paths that you could have chosen in life, I'm sure you do many things. You're a reader. You actually grind, entrepreneurship. So there's different lanes you could have chose. You seem intelligent. What made you choose this specifically as your platform and lane to operate in, which you kind of touched on as far as reaching our people, but what was the driving factor to say, this is it, nothing else?
I think I'm laughing because I'm like, I don't know if I really chose it. So my mother is Black and my father is white. And I think naturally coming into that type of dynamic of learning both cultures and dynamics, I think early on I realized I was a bridge to community, right? To the Black community, to the white community, however we want to look at it. I came up from both. And so I always saw myself as a helper to kind of bridge either cultures or people or whatever it is, right? And so there was that piece of just like my upbringing. I also played basketball, so I'm definitely a team-minded person. I was a point guard, so the point guard orchestrates and keeps everybody involved. So I have a little bit of that mentality as well. And then I think, with the youth development piece in my nonprofit, I always wanted to give back to young people. And again, there's something in me around this like standard of excellence, right? And the nation helped confirm that in me because I knew that when I saw my community, when I saw, things in my family, and when I saw things in me, I knew there was a better way to be, right? I knew there was this is who we are today, but there's got to be more than that. There's got to be more to us than just kind of going along, getting along, or working a job, coming home, going to sleep, and doing it all over again. And so there was a yearning in me that just wanted better and wanted excellence and wanted to see our communities better. And so again, I just come back to the nation. The teachings gave me a visual, right? When you read Message to the Black Man, when you read the history of how we came about and who we can be, and how, we built civilizations on our decline. Egypt was built on our decline from, our high state in civilization. So when you see that, it's like, and when you read it, it's like, we can do so much more, right? So there, honestly, it's that piece. And then also, if not me, then who? And that's something that I believe, like, if I'm not helping to uplift our community, if I'm not helping pour into my son and other children, if it's not me, then who else is going to do it? And not to say that I'm the only one, but more so is that we all got to pick up our cross and carry it and do our work. And so I think that's the core of it. And then I am all over the place in a good way. I have my hands on a lot of things, but I feel like they're all connected, right? So I have a 9 to 5. I work for another organization. I do their staff development, right? So I'm pouring into staff and how to work with young people. Then I have my own nonprofit that's providing services to the community around mentoring and literacy and community events. And then Traveling Pillar, right? So at every event, you can buy a bar of soap and a book. You know what I mean? And then I'm a mother. I got an amazing 11-year-old son who I'm pouring into. So I feel like, yes, on paper, it looks like I have a lot of going on, but they all connect. I coach my son in basketball. So I'm a coach for his 5th grade team. And so I think all the work lines up. But to answer your question, because I went around it, when you find your purpose and you believe that is your purpose in life, I think from there's no stopping. And so everything that you do becomes an extension of your purpose. And I think that's where I'm at right now, is that I found my purpose, I'm living my purpose, and I'm doing good while I'm here. And that's kind of my motto. And so everything I do touches within my purpose, which is I believe, to serve humanity in whatever way my gifts, come forth to do that.
Indeed. What makes Traveling Pillar, the brand, the e-commerce store, the platform, unique from other holistic platforms that sell bodies? So what makes your brand and what you do unique?
Yeah, I mean, again, you can find a lot of other companies that resell similar products or similar brands. Absolutely. I think one thing that you can trust is that I've used mostly all the products that I'm selling back to you. I can also attest to the different skin variation issues that we may have when it comes to like soaps and products. Sometimes natural products also make us break out. And I can talk through, that I've had a lot of different people come to me, talk about, eczema, dry skin, the difference between shea butter and mango butter. I've tried all those things, and I can make pretty sound recommendations to any customer that, wants to know the difference between raw black soap versus the cosmetic black soap, right? So there's some of that, of just a knowledge piece, right? That you can trust that as an owner, I'm not putting anything out there that I either haven't tried on myself or I'm currently using right now with me and my son. So there's that. I think also I have kind of a mixture. So I have, I'm a distributor with Eden Fresh products, and I carry about 4 of their products along with a few other Black or brown owned manufacturing companies of hygiene products. So there's a mixture. So when you come to the website, you're going to see a different variety of things. I think the other piece too, my tagline is kind of mind, body, and soul. And so there's other what I want to say, products, I guess, that we hold on our website, like sage and smudging pieces that, again, is connected to our original culture. And so you can come and get a bar soap, sage, message to the Black man, some incense, and a candle. You know what I mean? And so, and then you can create kind of your own sanctuary in your home, all from one place, right? So I think that's the other piece too, is that I wanted to create a one-stop shopping where you can kind of get your mind, body, and soul filled. And I think that's what separates us. And then, of course, we'll travel, right? So if you're in the Northwest, from Seattle to Portland, we can come to you and be at some of your events,
Yes, ma'am. Now, what would you say the value, what is some of the value or the value that you would say Traveling Pillar brings to those who utilize the platform or your store or your brand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think just to kind of reiterate, oftentimes if you go to any grocery store or if you're going to any store in your city, you kind of just have to trust that it's a brand that works, and you don't really get to have a conversation with Dove or Irish Spring Company to be like, hey, what's in your product? So I think the value too is that we're accessible. You can call us, you can email, you can have a conversation with the owner. So there's a value point with that, is that we're accessible. I think the other piece around value, again, is, again, you have to be able to trust who you're buying the products from. Um, and also, I don't have this on the website, but I have customers that say, "Hey, I use this product and or my son used the product and it made him break out. Do you have another recommendation?" Like, absolutely, at no charge. Because again, my whole purpose is to have a product in your home that you're going to use consistently, and it's going to take you away from the chemicals and the other harmful ingredients that are in a lot of our hygiene products, right? And so it's not about the dollar for me. It's about, can we shift what's in our household so that we can reduce the high number of cancer, right? That comes from chemicals and aluminum and all of that that's in our products. Eczema, while it can be internal, a lot of that is also environmental, and what we're ingesting in our environment, and also what we ingest in our bodies. And so again, I think the value is that you can trust the owner, but also it's not about money for me. It's about, can you shift what's happening in your household to be able to have healthier skin, healthier thinking, and of course a more peaceful environment.
Mm-hmm. How does Traveling Pillar give back to the community, or some of the ways that you give to the community?
Yeah, I mean, we're often during the unholy days, holidays, in December, and sometimes in November. There's a couple companies that reach out to us and ask us to put together gift bags or gift boxes for their clients, and so that has been consistently happening for the last 5 years. Some of it is paid for, some of it is us just donating 50 gift boxes or 100 gift boxes to families. And so we're constantly in the community being able to, give gift bags back. One thing that I get to kind of do with my nonprofit, we have a clothing closet, and we give away clothes and shoes and hygiene products once a week. And so adding those hygiene products, to the house list, or whoever comes through the doors that need, some extra toothpaste or whatever it is. So I'm constantly giving back in product all the time. Again, that's just reiterating why it's not about money for me. It's about impact, and it's about changing how people think. Colgate is a common name that everyone knows. Other people may not know, charcoal toothpaste, right, by Essential Palace. And so it's about, how do we shift the household names that are actually killing us, and giving folks another alternative. And so I often give free gifts. Almost anyone that places the order on my website, they're always getting a free gift. And I've had people say, I didn't order this. I know you didn't order it. Try it. Try the body oil, try the, essential oil. So I think there's a consistency around just taking care of our people, and providing above and beyond, so that, folks understand that I care more about your health, and I care more about shifting things in your household than, the $5 and $10 that I can get.
Yes, ma'am. Now, you mentioned in your response just a minute ago that it's about the impact.
Mm-hmm.
And you also mentioned earlier in this interview that, for instance, one scenario you have people tell you that this works great for me, or this didn't work so well, and you provide another solution for them. As far as impact, can you let us know another way or another example of how Traveling Pillar has impacted someone or a family or the community?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my mother, I'll use my mother as an example. My mother is 71 years old, retired. And she's actually like one of my best employees. I pay her through product, but she lives in a apartment complex that's 55 and older. And a lot of those clients don't drive, they're not able to get out, go to the, next corner store and things like that. And so we kind of have this unofficial store, I would say, at the apartment complex, where I'll bring my mother products, once a week or every 2 weeks, whether it's a variety, the incense, the soaps, some information. And she kind of makes gift bags, and then she kind of talks to all her, residents, and it allows them to, again, access healthy products, that they're, again, they're probably, a lot of them have a lot of health issues. And so I would assume, I don't know for a fact, but I would assume these health conditions are rooted in, what we eat, what they eat, of course, and then some of the, harmful products that they're using. And so being able to, supply, right, hygiene products to a 55 and older apartment complex that's probably has about 100 residents in there, and so that they have access. All of them don't come to my mother, right? But there's a core group that are consistently coming to get their natural, products from her. And so that's that. Again, that's an unofficial thing that we've kind of organically created in terms of impact. I think the other piece around impact is, we've been in business since like 2006, 2007, and that longevity, I think, is key. And oftentimes it doesn't feel like, well, it does feel like it's been that long, but it's also like sometimes you take that for granted. But what that means is that there's a long-term experience of being in business and doing the work and trying to, um, balance out profit and loss and revenue and expenses and all of that. So I think the other piece to the impact is, while I'm not an expert, I have experience, right? And so having conversations, I've been on a couple panels, I've had conversations with younger entrepreneurs, just to, give them kind of the ins and outs of the path and the journey, right? And how you have to believe in your vision when no one else does. And so there's a piece around just experience that I bring to the table. The last thing I'll say too is that I am an event planner. And so oftentimes I will partner or be with other organizations to create a marketplace for other businesses and entrepreneurs. And so, like yesterday, we had a Black business marketplace, had 30, entrepreneurs. I would say 20 of them probably just started their business 3 years ago. But again, being able to have access and being connected to younger entrepreneurs and other business owners is kind of another value piece that I have. Because I've been in the business, since 2006, doing this work,
Yes, ma'am. Now, is Traveling Pillar currently hiring or taking internships? And if someone was interested in learning what you do or working with you, how would they go about connecting or building with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I wish we were ready to hire. And I only say that because right now my nonprofit is taking a lot of my time. But I would love for an intern, one or two, to support around social media, graphic design, just more promo. Traveling Pillar, like many people, I would say, that start businesses and have businesses, is sometimes a side gig. It's when I do everything else and I have maybe a couple hours, then I can spend time on that. And I really want to prioritize Traveling Pillar even more. And so I would love for, if anyone is interested in just helping grow the brand even to another level, to just reach out to me, Traveling Pillar, at gmail.com, or to send me a note directly through the website. And that would be the easiest and the best way. I think the other piece to this, and one thing that I think is key, and I learned this through, Brother Ben and digital real estate, is that if it's not priority for you as the owner, then it's not going to be priority for someone else. Those are not the words that I heard, but that's how I've internalized them. And so again, that's where I'm at, is how do I position myself to truly prioritize and truly make Traveling Pillar, along with my nonprofit, the two entities that I work from, right? And really push, as opposed to putting them on the side. And like I said, when I have time, I get to it, and so that's where I think having some interns, or having, even a virtual assistant stepping in and helping process orders and things like that, some of that automated work that anyone can do, remotely, I think would be a good support And, if I find the right person, I'm definitely willing to compensate, because I know that it takes that to get, more money. So, absolutely. So yeah, not officially hiring, but I would love for anyone to tap in if they have the time, if they can see the brand and see the vision, and want to help me grow, help us grow. I'm with it.
How important is networking to what you do, Traveling Pillar, your youth foundation, and your ins and outs? Like, how important is networking to you?
It's key. I mean, it is key. I think, one thing that I've had to learn, that even though, I am um, I'm not even gonna say I'm a people person. I would say people know me. I think my natural state is an introvert, and I like to just kind of be to myself because I think a lot, and so in those moments of silence and solace is kind of where my ideas come from. However, networking is key, right? And so sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to be comfortable, and so I think one of the key things for anyone that wants to start anything, whether it's a business, an idea, a concept, or anything in between, you do have to talk about who you are and talk about your idea, right? Again, if you don't care enough about it, then why would anyone else care, right? If you don't give your elevator speech, 7 times a day or whatever it is, then why would someone want to spend their money, time, or energy with you? And so that was something that I had to, and I still, I don't say I struggle, but I still have to remind myself to get out of the box. When there's an opportunity, when there's an event, and I know who's going to be in the room, I got to be there. You know what I mean? Even if I don't have 5 minutes, FaceTime with them, I'm in the room, right? And so I think that that's really key, because being in some rooms, someone may say your name in either a room that you're in or a room that you're not in, and that's where connections will happen. And I'll say, once I got, for my nonprofit, once we got our physical location, then people felt like, oh, now they're serious about business. Well, we had our nonprofit since 2010. But when you get a building, when you get a brick and mortar, people are like, oh, they're serious about business. And so I've had different conversations now with different people, and people are connecting me with other people. And there's the onus on me to follow up, right? And so I think networking is key. I mean, networking, I think, is the one of the pillars, if I could say, to being successful in a business. And I always say this: no one is self-made. You didn't come into this world just, you know, with wind and here you were. No, you had a mother, you had a father. There was some way, shape, or form you got here. And then in all of that, whether you feel like you went through trials and trauma, and all of those pieces were people helping you along the way. So no one's ever self-made. And so you have to have people around you. You need to build a team. And the only way you do that is through networking.
Indeed. My last question for you before we close this plug room is, if you had the opportunity to be seen on every television screen, every mobile device, heard on every speaker, Bluetooth, it didn't matter, around the world at one time, and you had a few minutes, what would your words be? What would you share with the people?
Whew. Oh man, that's a great question. I would say, and as I said, I started with this. Find your purpose, live your purpose, do good while you're here. Um, whether it's Traveling Pillar, whether it's youth, that I represent, it is so important for us to be clear on who we are, whose we are, what we're doing in life, and how we live our life. And so again, from the products that we use in our household, to the knowledge and information that we ingest in our minds, to the people we have around us, all of that matters. Every second, every hour, every day, every year, all of it matters. And so if you don't know where to start, if you don't know where to begin, start with, what you wash your body with. Start with the toothpaste that you brush your teeth with. Start with, the books that you read, and you can all start, here at Traveling Pillar. And from there, it'll catapult you to different areas in life that you want to, engage in. But I would just say, start somewhere right here close to home that you can trust, Traveling Pillar. And then from there, the sky's the limit.
Indeed. Well, I definitely want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your journey, your path, your vision, some of your vision, your purpose, your solutions, your impact, and all of those things. Before you go, plug your business, plug your brand, tell people where they need to connect with you, and then we'll close it out.
Awesome. Yes. So once again, check out travelingpillar.com. That's traveling with one L, pillar with two. That's where you can get your mind, body, and soul products. If you're interested in the nonprofit sector, please check out youthpdx.org. That is our nonprofit. There we're focused on literacy, mentoring, diversity and equity training, and just overall better in our community. And if you need me directly, you can reach me at travelingpillar@gmail.com. And that comes directly to me. So once again, I appreciate the opportunity to plug in the plug room. And my brother, thank you for what you do on your platform. I appreciate it.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you again, and we'll be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Peace and blessings. Make sure, again, you tap in with Sister Imani Muhammad, travelingpillar.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever you can find her. At the plug room, we like to close it out and let people know to measure yourself to yourself, not to what to others have done. Always strive to be better tomorrow. Do you, be honest, be creative, and stay 1000. I am your brother, Juan Carlos Sex, at Slaystone Music Online. This is the plug room where you can plug your business, plug your brand, theplugroom.com. Until next time, peace.